This Birding Adventures episode is powered by Nikon, your world leader in optics since 1917, and sponsored in part by South Texas Nature, featuring the lower Rio Grande Valley, America's richest birding.
Howdy partners, this is birding Texas style. We're on horseback in South Texas, and this is a great way to experience the wildlife and the birds of South Texas. We're on the Blunderosa Ranch, and this is a beautiful horse named Chip. Let's go birding.
Now is the time of your life. Oh, now is the time. It's a sweet ride to the end of the line. Now is the time. It's the right time to come alive. Now is the time of your life. Oh, now is the time.
Smoking ponies, did you see that bird? And this is the perfect habitat for this bird. Beautiful plumes, look at the plumes on the neck and the head. Yeah, that's what I call birding. Awesome, that's our golden bird. On this week's Birding Adventures show, we're featuring the Aplomado falcon as our golden bird. And there are very many special raptors of the Rio Grande Valley. And this is one of them right here next to me. This is a Harris's hawk. Look at the beauty of this incredible raptor. We're going to hopefully see some of these in the wild. Let's go birding.
You can't say ranch?
I can't say ranch.
Ranch.
I can't say ranch.
You said it. You said it.
I can't say ranch.
Yes, you did.
Did? I didn't say ranch.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I only said ranch.
Okay, whatever.
This week's birding adventure takes us in quest of the northern Aplomado falcon. We're going to be searching for this bird mainly in the areas around South Padre Island, Cameron County, and also in Willacy County. There's a whole host of raptors and a whole variety of these beautiful birds of prey in the Rio Grande Valley. And we're very fortunate to have with us Wings leader Jon Dunn, who's going to be co-hosting this show with me.
I better follow his instructions carefully.
And we're going to go in quest of this beautiful falcon. Howdy partners, we're in South Texas and we're birding from horseback. This is a wonderful way to experience the bird life and the wildlife of South Texas. You're very quiet on a horse, the wildlife doesn't spook as much, and it is such a great, quiet way to get up on wildlife and on birds.
Let's saddle up and ride.
This is absolutely classic. Jon Dunn has not ridden a horse in 50 years, and we've got him on a horse today. This is going to be classic. He's my pancho for this trip.
Probably if you were to pick one area in North America that has more specialty birds, it would be the Rio Grande Valley. There are others like Southeast Arizona, South Florida, Southern California, but the Rio Grande Valley has a combination of species that reach the northern terminus of their range from Mexico, in addition to having a combination of both east and western species. The variety is really amazing. And then also, so many rarities occur, particularly during the winter months from Mexico.
Look at this, John, we've got a white-tailed hawk over here. This is great, we're so close to this white-tailed hawk on horseback. If we were on foot, this would be a totally different experience. The beautiful colors on this great white-tailed hawk here. This is an adult. Beautiful colors.
Well, the white-tailed hawk's one of the specialty birds of South and Southeast Texas. It's in this rather narrow band of the coastal thorn scrub savanna and grassland. They're basically resident, but they move around some. When they have a fire, it can locally concentrate numbers. The adults are one of the most beautiful hawks with that white tail and rufous in the scapulars and pale gray head. And the young are a lot darker, usually with a small white patch on the breast. The white-tailed kite is a species that's found primarily in California and South Texas, some also in Florida. When I started birding, it was known as the white-tailed kite, then got lumped with the black-shouldered kite of the old world, and now re-split again as the white-tailed kite. From the black-shouldered kites, it has a longer tail. They can be gregarious, and they do move around some, and their populations fluctuate depending upon small mammal populations. So some years they'll be all over the place, and then when those small mammal predators get reduced for whatever reason, the population of those will decline. Well, the Harris's hawk, again, another sort of borderland species from South Texas, even farther north in Texas, through southern New Mexico, southern Arizona, formerly southeastern California. And indeed, you do find them in small groups. And these small groups form cooperative hunting groups. And that was known, but the research really hadn't been done until the last couple of decades. And they've been able to quantify, based on the number of birds, the chance success rate of catching their prey. Now, for instance, a flock will surround a brushland and one will actually go into the brush and flush out a rabbit, and there are others are manned around the outside of the thicket, waiting to nail the rabbit when it comes out. The more birds you have, the better chance the escape routes are blocked. The Harris's hawk is one of the falconer's most popular birds to have. They're very easy to work with and form an attachment to the falconer where they don't lose them that often. But on the other hand, it does form a problem when you see them out of range. You always wonder, could this be a release bird? So you have to look very carefully at the legs to see if it has a plastic band, which had indicated it had been a captive. Caracaras have recently, the crested caracaras have been split. Ours, the crested caracara, is known now from Middle and North America. When I started birding, the crested caracara was a rather hard to find item. You pretty much had to come to South Texas to see it. There were some and a few in South Florida, and if you're really lucky, you could find one in southern Arizona. They've gotten much more common now in Texas. There's a string of records that could be legitimate in a number of border states beyond Texas. You find them along the roadsides. Often they'll be on carrion, on roadkill, like the vultures, even though its taxonomic affinities lie within the falcon family.
You know, the conservation of raptors is very, very important, especially in today's world where raptors come into contact with human beings and come off with often negative consequences. An organization like Last Chance Forever, the Bird of Prey Conservancy, were really, really awesome in assisting us on this trip, but also, more importantly, they're so important for the work that they do, saving raptors.
This Birding from the Edge segment is brought to you by Nikon, manufacturers of the Edge line of optics.
So that was just a wonderful, different perspective on birding in South Texas. What do you think of that, John? We got to see some nice raptors from the horseback. It was pretty awesome to get up close and personal with a lot of those raptors. What did you think about that whole horse ride experience?
Well, we did. It's been 50 years since I've been on a horse, and after the experience, I promised to get on another one within the next 50 years.
I love it. Woo! We're birding from horseback. This is birding from the edge. This is the Port Mansfield area of the Laguna Madre. We're heading out to some remote islands here, which is excellent habitat for migrating shorebirds like piping plover. There might also be a whole host of other waterfowl, things like roseate spoonbill, a whole lot of ducks out here. We're going to see what's out here. Let's hit it. Now, Willacy County is an excellent place to view raptors, but a visit to Willacy County just wouldn't be complete without a quick trip down to the Laguna Madre and the Port Mansfield area to have a look at some of the most incredible shorebirds and waterfowl in North America. This was a great experience being out here. Very few people can actually get out to access these islands because the water here is literally a few centimeters deep. It's very, very shallow. There are no roads coming in here, and for exactly this reason, there are so many birds here. I mean, we're seeing flocks of 100 long-billed curlews. We're seeing great flocks of roseate spoonbills, big, massive flocks of white pelican as well. This is a great, great experience, and you know, it's also nice to hear. I'm sitting here with Chuck. He says to me that there's almost no airboat traffic in here. all the fishing spots are further up, so all these birds are really protected. This has been a special experience on the Laguna Madre, close to Port Mansfield. This is quite bizarre. I'm standing right now 6 miles off the mainland in the lower Laguna Madre. Now, yesterday we were out right in the backwaters where the water was very, very shallow, and yet I am 6 miles off the mainland right now and I'm standing in water below my knees. This makes the Laguna Madre critical habitat for a whole lot of overwintering waterfowl, birds like redheads. Walt, tell us a little bit about this lagoon and why it's so important.
Well, the Laguna Madre is one of only 3 hypersaline lagoons in the world, which means, quite frankly, that its average salinity level is 40 to 60 parts per thousand, where open Gulf water is 32 to 35. An average bay, an actual bay, is about 18 to 28 parts per thousand. Because of that, it has a very low diversity, but the creatures that live in it tend to really prosper.
This is also very, very important overwintering habitat for the Great Lakes population of piping plovers, which is a federally endangered bird. It's highly threatened, probably the most threatened small plover in the whole of North America. Probably 6,000 left across the country, I believe. So this is very, very important habitat for piping plovers as well.
For this area here, some days I'll see manatees, I'll see Kemp Ridley sea turtles, and you'll see piping plovers and reddish egrets all in the same little square mile of water. And it's really, really phenomenal when you see a manatee intermixing with a sea turtle with threatened and endangered birds frolicking around.
After soaking in the sunshine and the birds of Port Mansfield in Willacy County, we made our way to the Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge, home of roadrunners and also North America's most endangered cat species. It's always great fun to see roadrunners. The greater roadrunner is an emblematic bird of the drier regions of the south central and southwestern United States. This large cuckoo is not called the roadrunner for nothing. It's often found using roads and roadsides as open hunting grounds, where it can run along at great speed with these lanky legs and capture lizards, snakes and other prey. I'm sure there's a whole generation of Americans that think roadrunners are purple birds that chase coyotes and cry beep beep at every turn. But nonetheless, they are impressive birds, and they can run at 15 miles per hour. They look pretty crazy with that long tail, those gangly legs, and that mohawk crest. The greater roadrunner, an awesome predator of the dry west.
This is very exciting. We're deep in the heart of Laguna Atascosa National Wildlife Refuge with ocelot researcher Jody Mays. We're going to go out and try and see if we can find ocelot with telemetry equipment. Ocelot is one of the rarest mammals in the United States. There's probably only about 50 ocelot left in the United States. We're going to try and see if we can pick up a signal. Let's go.
These are remote troop cameras that will photograph any animal or anything that comes up towards this guzzler, which is a rainwater catchment system to provide water for wildlife during drought conditions. We've gotten photographs of all kinds of stuff coming up here. Quite a diversity. Birds, snakes, armadillos, ocelots, javelina, all kinds of stuff. The ocelot is kind of a habitat specialist a little bit compared to the bobcat, say. The ocelot, if you see a photograph of one or look at one, they have a real strong pattern on their pelt of spots and streaks and bars, and that's an adaptation to this kind of habitat. The ocelot is extremely endangered in the United States. I think you mentioned already that we think there are fewer than 50 individuals left in the whole United States, and those are all in South Texas. Oh, there he is. If you can hear that beep, that's a male ocelot that we have in this area. You can pick up this radio collar signal. This is specialized equipment to pick it up. You can pick it up from roughly a mile away. Based on the strength of this signal, I'd say he's only a couple of 100 yards away from where we are now.
Great stuff. Well, thank you, Jody.
Sure.
Isn't it incredible to think that here we are, right in South Texas, in the home of one of North America's most endangered mammals, the ocelot. Now, the modus operandi which we're going to employ looking for Aplomado falcons is we're going to drive the highways in these open coastal prairies, looking for the birds perched characteristically on top of fence posts, on top of telegraph wires, and also possibly flying or soaring over these open areas. Now, John, this is a bird which used to occur in the south region of Texas and which was extirpated and is slowly coming back. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
It is. It was a characteristic and really a very distinctive, wonderful bird of the South Texas over to southeast Arizona. Through the 19th century, numbers started declining in the early 20th century, and by 1930 they were pretty well gone. The last sightings involved birds in eastern New Mexico in the 1950s, and they found even a few nesting there in the early 1990s, a sighting of a wild bird in West Texas in 1991, and they started reintroducing them back in the 1990s in South Texas, and more recently in West Texas and again in parts of New Mexico. And this has been a very successful program, over 1,500 releases, and in last year alone over 100 fledged young came from the Texas reintroduction program. So we're lucky to see them, and we're also, it's good news environmentally that the bird's on its way back, reoccupying its former range.
Oh, great, John. Well, let's go hop in the car, let's drive along the highways, and let's see if we can have some luck with this wonderful falcon. Let's go birding.
Hold on, I see something up ahead on the...
Those two birds up
Yeah,
there.
those two birds.
Okay,
Let's get over and get a
let's
quick
pull
look.
over. They look about right, don't they?
They do. One's a lot bigger than the other, but let's get a look here.
Okay, I'm just going to stay a little bit far away so that we can try and get a shot here.
Oh, indeed. They're Aplomados, and the size difference, the male's a lot smaller than the female that's with it. Oh,
Yes, we've got them, I think.
Great.
This is
let's
great.
go.
Okay, I'm just going to pull into this, it looks like there's a side road over here.
Be safe
I'm going
here.
to pull in here, just get off the road. We don't want to have any accidents. We've got to be safe birders. This is exciting stuff. Alrighty. I'm going to stop over here, John, rather view them from a distance first, and then we'll try and get closer. This is awesome stuff. Alrighty. Woo! Awesome. Isn't that beautiful, John? Great job. This is great. I think we can even get a bit closer. I'm going to drink them in for a while through this Nikon field scope. Oh man, look at the colors. It's a great bird. We've got a pair of Aplomado falcons here, sitting on top of this post behind us, overlooking this coastal plain habitat. Two of them sitting together. I'm getting awesome views through my Nikon field scope right now. Dead on the female. This bird gets its name from the Spanish Aplomado, which means lead colored. And if you look at the coloration on its wings, it's got that bluish lead colored coloration on the wings, which gives it its name. In fact, the old name for Aplomado falcon was orange-chested hobby. And also, if you look at this bird, you can see it's readily identifiable by this orange chest. It's also got a black band around the breast and the belly region. Absolutely beautiful bird, the Aplomado falcon, our golden bird. Yeah! Oh, there they go, taking off. Both together, look at that. Oh my gosh, look at these guys fly. Look at the long tail in flight. Looks like that female's going for, she's going for dragonflies or something. What do you think those are, John? Are those dragonflies?
Definitely dragonflies. In fact, it got it, and it's feeding on it on the wing.
This is typical behavior of Aplomado falcons. They feed on a huge variety of invertebrate prey, and they will try and hawk dragonflies on the wing. This is pretty typical Aplomado behavior. There they go across the coastal plain, back across the highway. What a beautiful falcon, Aplomado falcon. And they're gone, just like that. We're very lucky to see these birds in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. This is not an everyday sight. People from all over the country come down to view these birds here in the Rio Grande. You know, I was a little bit skeptical that we would find Aplomado falcons so easily in the Rio Grande Valley. We searched for a little bit, but we actually managed to find him fairly quickly. And not only one bird, but two birds together was really a treat. You know, heading up to Willacy County was great, not only for the birds that we saw, but also just the wonderful characters we met on this trip. Such incredible hospitality, people like Ron Dawson taking us out horse riding. It was really, really awesome to witness his humor and his personality. And also all the people of Willacy County that really made this trip very special for us.
I came with no preconceived notions, and I just came along to have a good time and to go with the flow, and mostly to do what I was told, and viewed each particular time as an adventure. I thoroughly enjoyed meeting all the different folks and having them show us their particular area, and seeing, actually getting the local communities involved, I thought was terrific in bird watching and promoting ecotourism, bird watching in general. And the only event, again, I viewed with a slight trepidation was, as uncertainty, was getting on that horse again. And I just was really unsure about that. And but even that, it worked out all right. I'm glad I wasn't on it too long.